big shout out to Bob Shepard out in Freeport, Long Island.
I mean, what a wonderful man, and that voice that's echoed through Yankee Stadium and Giant Stadium, and
the voice of God.
Oh man, here is Jeter taking on Hong-Chi Kuo. The tying run is at the plate. We're in the top of the 6th inning. 7-4, Dodgers out in front. Now you flip this lineup back to the top. It's Jeter with Granderson on deck. I like this move by Joe Torre. He's got Kuo, who's got just electric stuff dealing with Jeter as Kuroda was getting tired. But then, Tim, you've got the lefty Kuo to deal with Granderson, who really struggles against left-handed pitching.
But to face Jeter representing the tying run, it gives you an idea of just how fast he throws the ball. I mean, this guy he's of a different ilk.
1 ball, 1 strike is the count. And when you start talking about hard-throwing left-handers, right-handers, whatever, I want to ask Billy, I know you're a baseball fan, and you watch, I'm sure, on satellite, and you follow the Yankees wherever they go. But it's an interesting year around Major League Baseball with a lot of these young players who are coming up as Jeter takes a strike over the inside corner. And this Steven Strasburg, who makes you want to go to a television and watch him pitch.
You know, because it's compelling. It's compelling. His poise, his stuff. It's akin to, I guess, when Bob Feller came up with that speed and that curveball and that confidence when Feller was, what, 17 when he came up?
Right. Here's a 1-2 and a strikeout of Derek Jeter on a good pitch from Kuo. 2 out in the inning.
Oh, that's a lousy birthday. Oh. No cannolis for him. No cannolis for him.
Slider on the first pitch. So no cannolis, Derek.
I'm on the bridge. I'm going to be on the bridge. I'm out of here.
A lot of hard stuff, and then one at the end with a wrinkle. And it's 2 on, 2 out. And here comes Granderson, and now he's going to be lifted for a pinch hitter. So Curtis Granderson, who really struggled against left-handed pitching last year and who would be dealing with the left-hander Kuo, is lifted for Jorge Posada, and he will bat here in the 6th inning with 2 on and 2 out. So Kuo's presence gets Granderson out of the ballgame.
Anytime a manager lifts a pinch hitter or lifts a hitter for a pinch hitter who is a catcher, particularly in the National League, there's always a concern of what do you do if your other catcher gets hurt. If you're carrying 2 catchers, which most Major League teams do.
Well, the move that'll happen if Posada makes the out here is that Colin Curtis will stay in the game, bat in the 9 spot, and the pitcher will go in that number 2 spot, you would think. And Joe Girardi's bench is very inexperienced. He's got Russo, Huffman, and Pena left on his bench. And Posada flies one into right. Billy Crystal,
Great to be here, guys. Always good to
really
see you.
appreciate you stopping in.
Always, Sam. Thank you.
A hit, a walk, 2 left. Yankees have stranded 7. Good work by Kuo. Bottom of the 6th. Dodgers bat up by 3. On Fox is presented by Chevrolet. Chevrolet, proud sponsor of Major League Baseball. This game gets into the 7th inning, and Hong-Chi Kuo will deal with the heart of the order with Teixeira, Alec Rodriguez, and Robinson Cano. If anybody gets on, Nick Swisher, for the Yankees trailing by 3. Came on to strike out Jeter and get the pinch hitter Posada to fly to right to end the top of the 6th. And now you can see that electric stuff. 94-mile-per-hour fastball misses inside to Teixeira, who hit a 3-run home run in the 1st inning. It's been over 11 innings out of the bullpen for Kuo since he's allowed a run here at home. And he had an 18 2/3 innings pitch streak with no runs allowed. It was snapped last week.
We talked about all-stars earlier. In my opinion, Kuo should be an all-star. I mean, for an inning or two, when Joe Torre and the Dodgers choose, he is unhittable.
And there is precedent to have a setup reliever make an all-star team. As roles have evolved in bullpens over the years, it would certainly be worthwhile for a National League team that needs to win a game. Here's a 1-2, up and away, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Talk to Joe Girardi. I mean, like it or not, home field advantage is tied to the league that wins the All-Star game, and Joe Girardi said, I will manage that game to win it because it meant a big difference to his Yankee team last year in the World Series as they beat Philadelphia when they got back home for Game 6. Here's a fly ball to right. Teixeira is retired, 1 out. Here with a smile and struggled a bit with that fly ball into right. Here are the leading vote getters in the National League. And I don't know, with the exception of third base, or the way David Wright has played of late for the Mets, that you quarrel with any of this.
No.
And for a guy like Jason Hayward, you know, these are the fans voting. Jason Hayward is one of the top 3 leading vote getters in the outfield, and he has been a 20-year-old sensation for the Atlanta Braves. Strike 1 to Alex Rodriguez.
You know, and looking at the defense there and seeing Hanley Ramirez's name up there, I couldn't help but think, Joe, that, and I've been thinking about it all week, that incident that Freddie Gonzalez had with Hanley Ramirez. And in my opinion, Freddie Gonzalez was exactly right in doing what he did, taking Hanley Ramirez out of the game, not playing the next night. But you can't help but think that that didn't have at least something to do with Freddie Gonzalez's firing in Florida.
Well, they're heavily invested, obviously, in Hanley Ramirez. Much less so in Freddie Gonzalez. The count goes to 1-2, making their way toward a new ballpark. Trying to build for the future. Gonzalez is gone. Edwin Rodriguez is the interim manager, and I want to get Ken Rosenthal involved as the conversation is picked up with the name Bobby Valentine surfacing as a candidate to manage with the Marlins. Kenny, what are you hearing about the managerial situation with the Marlins?
He will be the next manager of the Marlins. The real question with the Marlins is why they did this at that time. This goes back to the end of last season. Jeffrey Loria, the owner, nearly dismissed Freddie Gonzalez then and brought in Valentine. And really, it was just a matter of time, regardless of whether the incident with Hanley happened or not.
Here's a pop-up right side foul ball, and it will go into the seats out of the reach of Loney. Kenny, your microphone wasn't open at the beginning. I'm trying to piece it together, and I think what you started off saying is you think Bobby Valentine will be the next manager of the Marlins.
Joe, what I said exactly is that he has the uniform all but fitted. This will happen, and the only question is when it's going to happen, probably late next week.
Well, Ken, I guess the follow-up question is, will Freddie Gonzalez be the manager of the Atlanta Braves next year?
Well, that's a great question, Tim, and every indication is that the answer is yes.
Here's A-Rod being called out on strikes for out number 2. And the second strikeout for Hong-Chi Kuo.
Good fastball to get Rodriguez. Go ahead, Ken. What leads you to believe that Freddie will be the manager? Because that's certainly
He's got a history with that organization, Tim, as we all know. Freddie does.
Right.
Bobby Cox is retiring. And while there will be several other big-name candidates out there, we could be seeing Joe Torre, a managerial free agent, Lou Piniella. Freddie Gonzalez is a guy that the Braves family is very comfortable with. They think of him as a good manager, not the way Jeffrey Loria in Florida thought of him.
Here's a 96-mile-per-hour fastball for a strike to Robinson Cano, who is a .361 hitter to lead the big leagues at the start of the day. The situation with the Cubs is getting uglier. Here's a line drive that's knocked down by Crow, and he shot puts it over the first. Dug out by Loney. The inning is over. It's time to stretch. Kenny's already doing that. He's up on his feet down by the dugout. We'll come back and talk to Ken about the Cubs after this.